So this is probably going to relate to anyone that's pursued a more academic route in life rather than the more creative. I think we can all agree that the creative side wasn't always well nourished because there's a lot of fear around financial security with a job that's in science. And it also has a lot of credibility as well, and social status, etc. So there are many people that may get sort of pressurised into going into the lines of science and using basically the intellect all of the time to make sure that they gain their way of living. What we don't understand is that we're living in a very masculine-dominated society, and I don't mean masculine by male-dominated. It's more of like an energy, and this energy is more logical thinking, quite mathematical, quite orderly, structured, all of these things, and the way that we live in our society is heavily built around these things. Now, we've all got masculine and feminine energy within us. The feminine energy is more creative, it's more free-flowing, less orderly, less formed. So they are, the feminine energy is more associated with the arts, writing, drawing, dancing, painting, creating. This is why women have that nature to nurture and have a child, because female energy is very powerful in creating something. So basically the masculine energy has been more dominant within our lives, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's playing a part. We can also associate the masculine energy with solar energy. So the masculine energy is associated with the sun, so it's heat, it's rajasic, it's very action orientated. So it is quite associated with pitta, so the heat element of fire. So there's definitely an association there, and this could be the root of many of the pitta imbalances that we're seeing in today's society. So, I mean, for me personally, and I shared this recently on a post, I was, definitely persuaded into the line of science, not just from parental but society, like the school I was in. It was very much we were given the impression that if you pursue the sciences, that's the way to go in life. But actually I was hugely creative, and I never pursued it. My life took me down the line of science, and I got a good job and all these things. But then years later, I noticed that I was suppressing this side of me that wanted to be like expansive and creative, which is a bit like the vata dosha, which is my constitution. So there's this sort of dumbing down of my vata and not allowing it to flow, having to keep my life in a particular order and do things in a particular orderly way, and stay within confines of my practice. I wasn't allowed to sort of expand out and use my own ideas. Everything had to be done according to something above. And this is hugely trapping for a vata person, not necessarily in just your job role, but also in society role, like family pressures. If you feel like you have to do things in a certain way, it can create a lot of tension and stress, because the nature of vata is that it's quite expansive and flowing. It doesn't have a set order to do things. So this suppression, alongside the pitta, can lead to symptoms that are pretty much basically meltdowns. Anxiety, obviously, because the vata becomes trapped, basically. So it wants to flow, but the heat's too much. Now, if you put together heat and air, it creates gas. It's like it's trapped and it needs to come out. So it took me a while to realise that I had to slowly nourish this creative side of me and let it flow. And that's another whole story about how I did that. but it definitely helps. It's like a release almost. So I think I wanted to make this video because I wanted to share with anybody that maybe feels similar. You know, don't feel bad and feel like you don't know what's wrong. It's because you're not, that inner nature of yours is probably not being allowed to expand and behave as you feel it should, because we're putting everything into such order in our lives, and that's sort of that masculine energy and that pitta is driving a lot of it, and it can lead to a lot of imbalance. So if you're interested in rebalancing and reducing that pitta, there are ways, because when you reduce the pitta down, the vata is going to be able to flow a lot more freely. So yeah, if you're interested in these things, please get in touch for a consultation and we can talk through why and how it might be happening, and maybe think of some ways to help that vata to release and to allow it to flow out. And so if anyone relates to this, don't feel trapped, and you know it's going to be fine. You just have to take little steps. And one thing I also want to add is that I don't think it has to be one way or the other. You know, I don't think you should just do the arts or just do the science. They will complement each other. So if you have pursued a line of work where, yeah, okay, it's definitely logical thinking, mathematical, scientific, and maybe you feel like, oh, I wish I want to express myself more, you can be creative in what you're doing. They don't have to be kept separate. Find a way to use your ideas, even in your life or in your job. You can use creativity everywhere. You don't have to be an artist in the fact that, you know, paintings and creating actual artwork to show other people. You can just be creative in anything you do. It means that you don't have to do things in a particular way. You can bring the possibility of doing it in a different way, and this is the beauty of this alliance with arts and science, is that we can use the intellect and we can also use the power to create, and there can be so much possibility within that. We've got to stop creating these labels for ourselves and then making us feel so trapped, like we have to stay in that order as well, because you don't. You can be whatever you want, you can create whatever you want, you can create the life that you want to live, and you can be creative within your circumstances. You don't have to have this amazing life with all these different things. With what you have, you can create something and build from that and watch it blossom. And actually this is a good place to start, is how can I be creative with what I currently have, rather than thinking about what you're going to be creative with when you have something else. So yeah, I can go on and on about this, typical vata chatting, but yeah, please get in touch if you want a consultation, and I'd love to talk more with you about this topic because it's really, really interesting. Yeah, blessings, bye.